Hello everyone, welcome back to the kitchen table. Today on the kitchen table, my thoughts on the Phantom 3 launch. I have to apologise. As you know, I've been away for a couple of weeks, and although you heard it on this channel, one of the first ones to give you information that the launch would be on April the 8th, I was away, enjoying myself somewhere with virtually no Wi-Fi, which was marvellous. And I've come home to find that I've had a bit of an IT disaster this week, so I've had to pretty much rebuild my laptop. So hence why it's been a little late. So, however, to calm the nerves, and as it's the kitchen table, so we must always, when we're discussing our drones, have a little beverage. Today on the kitchen table we have this rather nice Languedoc from France, Le Pugiliste, and it does pack a bit of a punch. It's 14% alcohol by volume, which is pretty good for a French wine. So we'll put that there and we'll say cheers. It's good to be back. Thank you, Daisy. So yeah, I'm not gonna. This isn't going to be a rundown on the specs and everything. You've all done that. You've seen that. You've researched it. You know what it is. This is just going to be a kind of from my personal point of view, the good, the bad, and the ugly about the Phantom 3 launch. So shall we start with the ugly? Boy, if you bought an Inspire 1 in the last 4 months and you didn't have a very specific use case, for perhaps to use the the twin operation with the fully independently operable gimbal, that might be a very good use case. If you didn't have that, I would probably join you in the ranks of being pretty peed off right now, because effectively, apart from the funky form factor of the lifting arms, the transforming side of it, and as I said, the independently operable gimbal, you kind of get everything now that does in the Phantom 3 in the smaller form factor. So that was a bit of a surprise, and it's a bit of a departure from DJI, to be honest, because previously they've always kind of kept a very careful lid on how much the technology they're prepared to put on the consumer level, so they don't dilute the value in their pro line. The classic examples, people were clamoring to have point of interest mode in the Phantom, and DJI's stock response was, you want point of interest? Go and buy an A2 flight controller. You know, you want these advanced features? Go and buy one of our pro range. This is consumer, this is different. And to make the Phantom 3 pretty much have everything out of the box that the bigger stablemates does is a new departure, and I think just shows you that the competition is hot on their heels with features, and I think they needed to do that. That doesn't help anyone who's lashed out top dollar in the last few months. Boy, they do like to win friends and influence people sometimes, DJI, and then crap on you from a height. But there we go. So that was that. I thought that was pretty harsh, that they've put everything in. Not the same camera, but you've got a bit, the same sensor, the same branded sensor. The insides will be pretty much the same. So that was a bit unfortunate. Some of the things that I thought I was disappointed in when I saw the feature spec was the fact that they've made it that it can only use the new 4S cells. I understand that. This has got light bridge, a different camera. There's a lot of current draw going on in there now. And it needs 4S power. I get that, and that's going to be the case because they've gone up to 4S, and they're still only quoting 3 or 4 extra flight minutes. That's all to drive, things like the light bridge, to drive the optical flow sensor. There's a few more bits and pieces that need feeding on the thing. So, but it's not backwards compatible. So if you wanted to add a P3 to your existing stable, and say you had, like me, I've got a P2. And a Vision Plus, and I've got between them 5 smart batteries, and I can easily take one out with 5 batteries and have myself, not far off 2 hours flight time. To get yourself back into that position, if you're going to buy a Phantom 3, you're going to have to, whether you keep your existing kit or not, you're going to have to buy 4 or 5 new smart batteries at whatever price they're going to be. I can't see them making, hopefully they will be similar pricing to the existing ones, but that's still not cheap. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Other than that, though, it's pretty much as I thought, and all pretty darn good, really. There's one slight wrinkle that has been brought to my attention, in that in the old system, of course, if you had one of these guys, then on your transmitter, because it was running on 5.8, there were different maximum power ratings across the world, and it could switch between FCC and CE mode. Now that was just a question of turning a screw on the back of your transmitter and getting yourself perhaps a bit more control range. Now, you weren't supposed to do that if you're in Europe, but if you're in a tricky situation or you have particularly poor environmental reasons for having that, then that could get you out of a bit of a bind. Now, although the new system uses 2.4, it's still got a built-in way of throttling the power output, because again, there are different maximums allowed in different territories. Only in the new Phantom 3, that's done via GPS. The aircraft works out where in the world it is and sets the transmission power appropriately. Which means that if you've previously only been able to function well by sort of boosting your power, you might want to have a look into that and to see how much of a reduction you might get. So if you're in Europe, for example, do not expect to get the maximum performance that is being trailed in the marketing material, because your aircraft will automatically not give you the maximum power it's capable of doing. If you're in the US or in other jurisdictions where that doesn't count, then you should get the full whack. So that's a little wrinkle. Cool stuff. The GLONASS compatibility is really good news. If people were struggling with satellite reception, adding GLONASS in there is great. It means you've now got two completely different satellite constellations to use to get the best results out of. That was really pleasing. And again, that probably accounts for a bit more current draw in the upgraded GPS chip that's in there. Other than that, really, everything you're aware of, and I'm really quite pleased. I do like the Phantom form factor. I like the fact that I could put it in my backpack. That's why I didn't really want an Inspire. It's too big. It's similar feelings towards the Typhoon from Unique. It's a bit too big for a quad. If you're I like the portability. So to keep it in the same form factor, the camera looks reasonable. There's a couple of other little wrinkles, like for example, they've brought out a new fast charger to speed up the time to charge these the smart batteries, but you only get that included if you buy the Pro version. You don't get that if you buy the standard. I'm sure they'll have it as an optional extra if you buy later, but it's probably going to be a silly price, a bit like the car charger is for the existing Phantom range. So yeah, that incompatibility between the power systems between the two is one thing that I was disappointed in. Other than that, though, if you are not that fussed about 4K and the new features, if you wanted to buy yourself a Vision Plus but were waiting, boy, can you get some bargains now. Judging by eBay, everyone in the world is selling these off now in anticipation of the P3. I just hope they are ready to go quicker than the Inspire was, because it sounds to me like lots of people are pre-ordering, and if there's a big delay like there was with the Inspire, then that's just, it could be final straw for some people. Anyway, that was it. As I say, apologies for the bit of the delay while I've sorted out my technical issues, but we're there now. We're back off holiday. We had a great holiday, so we're raring to go. Got some more videos lined up over the next few days. So, as ever, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you back here again soon on the kitchen table. Until then, cheers.